Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Whole Reffin' Show. Whoa, should I scratch that? I believe going forward, guys, it's Jamie and Mike's wrestling adventure, and that's where we're going with it. It was previously the Whole Reffin' Show, but now it's Jamie and Mike's wrestling adventure. Are you there, Mike?
I am here, buddy. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm ready to start this adventure.
Yeah, me too. It's been a little while since we've been on here, but we have a lot of adventures in our personal lives that's leading us to this great opportunity. So I'm ready if you're ready.
Oh, absolutely. You know, there's a lot been going on lately. I briefly mentioned that I was moving back to the state of Florida, and that's where I'm currently at, down here in the Tampa Bay area, and loving it. It's been beautiful. Been to Clearwater already. I'm planning on another beach day coming up in the next day or two. But on a sad note, speaking of Tampa Bay area, and you're the one that actually brought to my attention this probably right before noon today. It was like 11 something, I believe. I was just sitting here. TV was off. I wasn't even scrolling my phone. I was just here in the quiet, finishing up a late breakfast. And I get a text from you, Mike, and it says, and it's got you sent me a link and you're asking, is this true? And it was yes. And if anybody knows what's going on recently with the pro wrestling news, it's about Hulk Hogan's death, which has caught everybody by surprise because everything, even from Jimmy Hart, his close friend, being on Twitter, I believe it was X that he was on, stated the day before or the day before that, I can't remember which day, that he was in good health and everything was progressing. He was good. But we get this sad news and all that. And you caught me off guard. And the next thing you know, I turn on the news here locally and it's on the local Bay News at noon. And with all the memories, you know, of a child growing up in the 80s, I was probably 6 years old when he won the WWE or WWF world title from the Iron Sheik for the first time. And I actually have that on video cassette of Hogan's greatest matches. It's on there. But to be a child and to discover pro wrestling and Hulk Hogan, to be honest with everybody out there, was my second favorite professional wrestler as a child growing up. First was Mr. Wrestling 2, and I spoke on that before and many podcasts ago. And then when I discovered the WWF and Hulk Hogan, it was a whole new light. But anyway, sad news, and I feel for his kids, his current wife, family, and really, really close friends of his. I really feel for them right now. Just really sad news in the wrestling community and just in general, when someone passes, it's not really a good time.
No, it's really not. Yeah, I was getting ready this morning and I just have to get online and have to see it. And I was like, if anybody would know, it would be my good friend, Jamie Tucker. And because we was talk about Hogan and some of his past and stuff like that. And it was actually like shocking. Like you said, Jimmy Hart yesterday said that Hogan was in good health and stuff, but it's been rumored for a couple weeks and everything that Hogan hasn't been doing good. But all of his friends and family kept on saying that it was all lies, that he was in good health and everything. And so I don't know what happened or nothing like that, but very sad and kind of shocking all at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm just guessing he wanted privacy during this time, and maybe he was really. And I'm kind of speculating here. I don't know the truth behind any of this. Maybe he was doing a lot better, and this is a big, big super surprise, or maybe he just wanted no one to know about it. And you know, he has that right, just like any of us. If we don't want to tell somebody something about our personal issues and personal life, we don't have to. And I respect that. I know he's in the public eye, but you still got to respect his privacy. because everybody deserves their privacy at times. And regardless of, this is not talking about anything that, a lot of people are on social media talking bad about him after his death. And I find that very sickening, to be honest with you, just for the mere fact, even if he did say something wrong or did something wrong, he is a father. He is a husband. He has very good close friends, people that really loved him. And to do him that way, it's sad. I wouldn't want nobody to do anybody that way. There's people I don't personally like, but I wouldn't personally go out and trash them at a time of such a bad situation. So I wish people would do better. But the ones out there that are doing this are the ones that always are saying we should do better, but they're not doing better. It makes perfectly good sense to me. But anyway, moving along, because I could go on a soapbox all day about that. How crappy people can be at times. We were going to talk about Bash to the Beach. Remember, we said we were going to talk about that. We were going to talk about the WCW Top 10 Champions.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
You went to Clearwater in Fifth, Florida.
Yep.
And you said you went to Hogan's place.
Hogan's Hangout.
And you was telling me a little bit about it earlier today.
Yes.
You got a Hogan beer.
Yes.
Tell the people what you have to do to get that beer, because I think it's pretty cool for you to order the beer that way.
So when I ordered, Julia was with me. That's my wife, to the people who don't know right off who that is. We went out there to Clearwater, and I said, hey, let's go check out Hogan's Hangout, because we just had moved back to the area a few days earlier. In the last 7 years we'd left here, it wasn't here. He had another bar restaurant out somewhere else that I went to years ago, but this was new to us. So I said, let's go down the street here. We walk down the street and we go in, and we sit down at the bar, and when they asked me what I'd like to drink, they got deals on the Real American beer. I mean, we're talking about pints for like $3.50. And in this day and age, a beer that cheap, that's unheard of. Plus, I wanted to try it anyway. So I found it as a really good deal. So I walk up there and we sit down, and I go, we'd like to have 2 of the Real American beers, pints. And she goes, no, you've got to ask for it like this. I want 2 Real American beers, brother. And she full on went Hogan on me. But it was kind of like we all laughed about it because it was funny. And then the next time I ordered the second round, I did it just for fun again. And but yeah, it's really cool. It was a nice little hangout place, man. Not just because it's called Hogan's Hangout, but yeah, it had a nice little bar there, and I enjoyed it. We had a couple rounds and went our way back to the beach. But I don't know what's moving forward with that place, but moving forward, if I go in there again, and hopefully it does stick around and all that for the future, it might just feel really weird knowing that the big guy's not around no more, and because he made, like I said before, even for the people that have a problem with some of the stuff he's done in the public eye, whether it's the political affiliation you had with Trump and they took it the wrong way and went overboard, because I don't care who you vote for out there. I don't put that much time and energy to stuff. Some of y'all go overboard with it. And that went out of hand. And he did say some things that were off-colored remarks that he should not have said. I agree with. But you've got to respect the man for everything he did for our industry. If it wasn't for him in the 1980s and Vince McMahon at lead doing the rock and wrestling era and everything they did, we may not have seen half the guys you see today, guys. So the next time you go out to a WWE event, AEW event, TNA event, and you see your favorite wrestler, or whether it's a he or she, I want you to think about this. You may not be seeing them today if it wasn't for the 1980s big era of pro wrestling. And guess who headed that? That was Hulk Hogan at the head. So I want you all to realize that when you do have a problem with anything, just say, hey, he did do a lot for the industry. I do respect him. So Rest in peace. God bless you, man.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure. Uh, one more thing before we get to the bash at the beach and the
Top
top
10.
10.
Mm-hmm.
What about August 30th in Cleveland?
Yes.
We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yes.
It's almost a month away. What do you think is going to happen with the Hogan promotion with the freestyle wrestling? Like, do you think they're going to keep it going? Do you think it's uh, going to go under or not even going to start because what happened? Like, what do you think is going to happen with that?
Well, to be honest with you, I have no clue, and my opinion on that is, I just hope that what had been started, that sounded like a neat new venture and a neat promotion coming out. I hope it gets to continue, and I hope they have success in the entertainment world, and it gives these freestyle athletes of wrestling an opportunity to show what they can do, because that's, a lot of people don't see it. They see the collegiate championships with the colleges on ESPN and different outlets, but you actually don't see the freestyle athletes that try to make a big profit off of it. And hopefully that they can continue this, have continued success. And to be honest with you, even though Hogan's not at the realm, I would still assume that that Bischoff will pick up and continue on with it. And I hope it's success. But as of right now, with all this happening so sudden and stuff, who knows? I really don't know. I really don't have an idea of what they're going to go do with that. But I do know that, regardless, Eric Bischoff is a good businessman, and he's a good guy to help them with what they got going on. But with Hogan not at the realm, being the face of it like he was supposed to be, it kind of throws a monkey wrench. It's going to be interesting to see what approach they're going to take since this tragic sudden death did happen.
Yeah, I hope it keeps going. Uh, they just got a TV deal and stuff, and they just announced that like I think last week or something. So it seems like it's going to be still going, and hopefully it is.
Right.
But like I'm I'm excited for it. Just don't know how much it's going to change now, if any, with everything that's happened.
Oh, correct. I'm looking forward to it. As long as things continue to go the way they are with that, I'm looking forward to the broadcast debut and seeing where they can take it. So I'll be watching on August 30th. Absolutely.
So you ready to get into some of the wrestling adventures?
Yes. So do we want to start off with our top 10 WCW champions of all time, like we've been talking about, and we got sidetracked and we haven't been on for a few weeks? Or do you want to start somewhere else?
We could start with the top 10 since we've been talking about it for a little while, and I think we'd be good to go on that.
Okay. So, Mike, what we were talking about weeks ago, and it has been weeks now, with our listeners out there, we were telling them that we were going to talk about our top 10 WCW champions, world champions of all time, in our opinion. And the reason we got on this subject is because you're such a big fan of the 2000 Vince Russo, David Arquette WCW time, that we kept going back and forth on where they'd rank in the top 10 if they did at all. And we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, I got my opinion on it, but my list might actually surprise you since we've been talking about it a little bit. I think my list might surprise you just a little bit.
Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing your list. And and hearing mine and going forth. Now, my question is, Mike, are we going to do it like go back and forth with giving our one, then our two, and then discuss them, or do you want to give all 10 of yours and I give all 10 of mine at once? How do you want to do this?
I think we should start from 10
And go
and we go
down?
back. Yeah, and then we give our number one at the end, but we go back and forth with
Okay.
each one.
Okay. Okay. I think we can do that.
Uh,
So do you want to start this top 10 or you want me to do it?
uh, it doesn't really matter. Do you have anybody on that's not on your list that happens to be a world champion that you think that it was like hard to like because we went over it. I don't know how many times to try
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody that didn't make your top 10, but it could be easy for them to beat on the top 10?
Oh, yeah. Um, I'm trying to look at my top 10 list here because I did finalize it and I've been holding on to this and I'm old school. I got it written down on a piece of paper. I've been holding on to it for weeks. And even with the move, I didn't lose it. So that shows you how much I was interested in talking about this. So to think off the top of my head, there are quite a few guys that maybe could be in that list because of their contributions to our business that didn't make the cut. Okay, I'm gonna name two right off the bat for you right now that did not make my top 10, but are top 10 worthy if we had more room to put in a top 10. So one is Diamond Dallas Page, because Diamond Dallas Page did win the WCW World Championship in 1999. He gave many years of learning of the business before he even became a wrestler. He was a manager, a broadcaster for AWA Vern Gagne's. He worked in Florida Championship Wrestling down here and for Dusty's group that later on Steve Kern and Mike Graham took over and finished running. He did a lot of contributions to that business, and he finally worked so hard he got the WCW World Title. So I'd say DDP is one that did not make my top 10 list that should be in it, but I don't have enough room. And another is Bret the Hitman Hart, just because Bret Hart to me, just like Hulk Hogan, is one of the GOATs of all time. And, one of the best of all time, the GOAT. And he is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And he ranks up there as being a legend with any guy in the industry throughout every decade that you can imagine. And he did hold the title on several different occasions, at least two, I believe, in his WCW time. And just being Bret Hart himself, you cannot throw it out the window. Even though his title reigns in WWF were way better, because the way he was booked, he still could be in that top 10 if I had more room.
No, that makes sense. Um, I also will pick DDP. If we would have been like a top 12, he probably would have been number 11.
Okay.
Like it was hard. I had him in there, and then we talked, and I kind of moved a couple people around, and like I don't know, it's like he had a good run, and people was like their fan favorite, everything, but it's not one that very memorable for me
Yes.
and everything. So that's why he kind of slipped out the top 10. But I like to be a little different. My top 10 is going to be way different than yours, I believe. But another one that slipped out the top 10 for me is, I can't believe I'm going to say this, is Ric Flair. And only because I feel like he's had more run and everything better in the NWA and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like as a WCW champion, like I don't know, like I don't really. It's like almost whatever situation. Like I don't remember him a lot in WWE, like when he was champion there for one or two times, or WCW. It's more NWA in that style. So yeah, he slipped out the top 10. So, and plus I was never really a big Flair person. Like if he was with the Horsemen and stuff, like the group and everything, I like the groups, like different versions of them.
Yes.
But Flair as a wrestler by himself, the only time I really liked him was like in the NWA and not really in WCW and stuff. So
Okay. Well, I mean, you are right. He had, if you compare his runs in the NWA to the WCW, you are correct 100%. The NWA stuff was much better in the Crockett days. Even in the Turner, when they took it over, it was still NWA. It was still better. He had that feud with Terry Funk in '89. Good stuff. Sting in 1990 dropped the title to Sting. Really good matches. But you are correct. Once Flair left WCW for the WWF and came back, he had one title run after he beat Vader, and a couple, because he went, or maybe it was that same title run. He went into it, and then Hogan beat him that next summer, I believe. So maybe it was the one big title run, and then from there it was. But I see your point. Is what I'm trying to get at. I see where you're getting at. I understand totally what you're saying. So with that being said, Mike, should we start the top 10 of what we believe are the best WCW world champions of all time?
yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So, Mike, since I started off before, I'll start off again. I have no problem with that, and I'm going to go with number 10, coming in at number 10. And I will give you an explanation of every one of them if I can. Number 10 for me is Booker T. And the reason I picked Booker T at number 10 is because his title reign came near the end of WCW, which was the summer of 2000. He got it at Bash at the Beach, and, all the stuff that went down at Bash at the Beach, but he had the title match with Jeff Jarrett. And if you were going to pick any guy at that particular time that deserved a world title that never had it before, I don't think WCW could have chosen a better guy than Booker T. And I picked Booker T at number 10. I think he deserves to be in that top 10.
Yeah, I wasn't too big as Booker T as an individual, but tag team, he would be. I don't think I have him in the top 10 neither. But my number 10 is actually surprising, going to be for you, because I've been joking about that he was going to be like number 1, but it's actually Vince Russo coming in number 10.
Oh, wow. You caught me off guard today.
So, yeah, I joked with you a little too long, said that he was going to be number 1, but try to do it like really my top 10, and I don't think he's better than a few other people, but we talked about it so much that he's got a place in history. I mean, really, he never was pinned or submitted for the championship. Never lost in WCW. Yeah, a championship reign. I could see that win more than I see like the Flair that you talked about, or like really Booker T was at the end, and I think they was just trying to keep the ship from sinking a little bit, try to create new stars, and just didn't really work. And I don't know, I think Russo was a little bit better champion than them, so he snuck in at number 10.
All right. Well, speaking of Russo, I mean, you had valid points before, Mike, when we talked. He had never really lost the title. He had to relinquish it at one point. So he never actually lost the WCW World title. So, yeah, I don't necessarily agree that he should be in a top 10 with all the athletes, but okay, I may give him a notable, hey, maybe he could slip in at top 10, but he would never be in my top 10. And it's nothing against him personally, because when people talk crap about his writing of our business and the way he booked things, here's what you got to look at, and they did not think about. Everything you do in the pro wrestling business, it's either going to work or it's not. Russo was put in difficult times in a difficult situation with the way WCW was being handled at the time. So I hate to say this, but I believe anybody, and this is not taken up for him, but I believe anybody could come under scrutiny during that time frame because of how bad things have gotten. And it was so many people behind the scenes that were arguing and bickering that people didn't know about that caused trouble for this guy, just like they probably felt he was causing them trouble. So it was a lot of bad stuff going on. But I'll never
But
talk bad.
I think if the storyline would have kept going and he didn't get a concussion when Goldberg speared him out of the cage and stuff, I think his title run would have been better. Cause like I like Russo, bro, and did like a little research on it, and he's supposed to have more of a title run.
Yes.
So just knowing that it got cut short and everything, not knowing what the possibilities could have been, it could have been something really good, you know.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think he's deserving to slide into number 10.
Okay. Hey, I respect anybody's opinion. And so here we go. So with that said, Mike, coming in at number 9 for me on the WCW World Champion list, none other than Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. Why doesn't he come up why didn't he come up closer towards number 1? Well, I've got a lot of other great athletes that I picked before him. But Big Papa Pump, to me, when towards the end there, he was also a champion like Booker, had a few more times and more often, and held it a lot longer during that reign. Big Papa Pump, to me, was an epitome of what a world champion should look like at that time in pro wrestling. I know the business changes here and there, just like the 1980s, Crockett, they put all their stuff in the basket for Flair. I think by this point in the business, guys that looked like Scott Steiner, body wise, the way they did promos, Scott Steiner fit the perfect world champion during that time frame at WCW. So I'll put him in at number 9.
Okay, I respect that. Uh, my number 9 is Ron Simmons. Uh, I liked him. They made like a big deal back at the time when he won it, the first African American world champion and stuff. I think he could have had like a little bit better title reign than he had. But for the part of the history and everything with what was going on at that time, uh, I had to put him in uh, the top 10, and I think number 9 is a good spot for him. Uh, he's a really good athlete too. Uh, I wish they would have done more with him. Uh, but yeah, I like him as a wrestler. I really do. But I didn't know if I should really put him up. Like you said, it's a lot of good athletes
Yes.
and wrestlers. I just didn't know if I should really put him up much higher than that, you know.
Right. I got you. There's a lot in the top 10 um, that you can throw in there, but Scott Steiner definitely number 9. Big talented. Um, but you have so many to pick through, and it's kind of like going back and forth on who should be in it, and you're like, man, it's so many good athletes over the years, and WCW was such a good company throughout different people running it, such as Bill Watts and Jim Herd. Even people make fun of his time there, but it was a good era still. Um, Bill Watts, you keep going, then Bischoff finally gets it. Um, yeah, it's just too hard to really wade through it all.
Yeah, it's very hard for sure because there for a while they kept on changing titles so much. Then you got to try to factor in all of them, and but it's just WCW. The downfall of it is really like what people really remember. But watching it, like I'm starting back over. I think I'm on like year 1995. Man, they got a lot of good wrestling up on WCW.
Yeah.
Um, if they would have got like a good TV deal or like the owner, like if Bischoff would have bought it or stuff like that, I think it probably could have been around right now. So it just everything like honestly, it's like WCW better than the WWF at the time. So
Right. Right. All right. So where we go from here, Mike?
well, if you want me to go with my number 8, I will say I want to pick Lex Luger.
Okay.
Uh, I think he was good. That first WCW Nitro, him coming in at the mall and just starting right there and then working his way to the championship and stuff. It was almost like the perfect story for him. And I don't know, he just had a lot of good runs in WCW that yeah, he's like I don't know, like I keep saying, like he's a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
But they all are.
Yeah.
Uh He had a lot of good matches with Sting, against Sting, uh, Hogan. Uh, yes, put him at number 8.
Okay. Well, Mike, my number 8 just happens to fall in, and it's really weird, but Lex Luger as well. To me, I pick Luger at my number 8 as well, but I tell you why Luger got 8 and not any higher. Um, Luger was a really good WCW world champion. He first got the world title in summer of 91 after Flair left for the WWF. They had Wyndham, Luger in a cage. That's when Luger turns heel, uses the pile driver at the end, which happened to be a move that Harley Race used. Harley Race becomes his manager. Mr. Hughes is his bodyguard. But it was like a heel turn just all of a sudden because Luger was the face. They just came out of a feud a few months earlier with the returning Nikita Koloff. Well, Luger takes this long run. He had matches with top guys such as Steiner. At one point, people thought maybe Rick Steiner was going, Rick Steiner, not Scott, but Rick Steiner was going to win the world title. He had a program with him, had matches with him. He worked Ron Simmons in a 2 out of 3 fall match at Halloween Havoc in 91 with Dusty Rhodes in the corner of Ron Simmons because Dusty was promoting Ron as the next world champion then. But fast forward, Luger loses the title early 2000. I'm sorry, early 2000, early 1992 to Sting at Super Brawl, and then Luger goes to WWF, and then he hadn't come back for years. Which you spoke when he come back. You just talked about that, so I don't have to go into detail there for people. But with all of what you said about Luger and all of what I just said, I put Luger in at number 8.
Yeah, I really wanted to put him up a little bit higher, but just with everything that you just said too, like man, is it, making the top 10 is really hard. I
It
think
is.
the bad thing is I think the top 10 is a whole lot harder than doing the Mount Rushmore. Uh,
It is. It is. But Mount Rushmore, after you do one, like I did before previously, you step back and go, man, what was I thinking? There's so many great talents out there. You really can't make a Mount Rushmore if you're a fan of more than one era in our business. because there's too many top guys out there. And it kind of makes it, you know, people listen to your Mount Rushmore and I go, man, why is that? He picked them all from the same era. Then you sit back and think, well, you know what? I did. But if I think about some of the talent we got now that are going to end up on Mount Rushmores, end up in top tens and end up in the greatest of 50 or whatever the WWF does, um, you know, it's too many great talents, too many decades. And if you've been a lifelong fan, it makes it even harder to pick. Or if you know about the business, you've been in the business, it makes it even double harder. But if we just talk about being a fan of the business, I've been a fan since I was a small child. I'm continuing today, and I'm in my 40s, and I still love the business. And it's just too hard to pick a top 10. But luckily, this was a little bit easier because we're talking about WCW, not even the Jim Crockett era. So we're talking about WCW era and then to the end of WCW. So it made it a lot easier, you know. So
Yeah, it really did. So my number 7 is Jeff Jarrett. I like Jeff Jarrett. I really do. Back when he was the champion, they did like the NWO 2000 and stuff. He had a really good push. Uh, I think he should have had more of a really good title run. And I didn't put this one any higher because of how it ended. Uh, at Bash at the Beach, that we were going to try to hit on later today. Yeah, I just didn't like how his championship reign ended. But
okay.
that might be why I didn't put him up any higher. But his actual championship run, I liked it a lot. So he's number 7 for me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick number 7 for me will be Goldberg. Goldberg hits number 7. And the only reason Goldberg didn't get higher up the list than number 7 is because even though he became the world champion in July 6, 1998, beat Hulk Hogan of all people in the Georgia Dome and for over 40,000 people. That was a big monumental moment. His title reign that time, I don't even know how long it lasted, Mike. I believe it lasted till late that year. So it wasn't even a year-long title reign. If Goldberg would have held that title just a little bit longer, I would have probably put him up the list. But being the monster that he was at the time and the ratings were out the roof and he was going head to head against Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is the main star on the other channel, he falls in for me at number 7.
Okay, makes sense.
So, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put in my number 6 while we're talking about it. Since we're talking about him, I'm going to go ahead and throw my number 6 out there. Since I started off and then you started going before me now, we're going back now. Number 6 for me is Jeff Jarrett. I know you just mentioned him as your number 7. Jeff falls in number 6 to me. For me, Jeff Jarrett he's a third generation athlete. He always got the business. I was a fan of Jarrett in his early days, when I first discovered him, in the late 80s working for Vern Gagne's. And when they had that, they were building up to Super Clash 3, the Lawler Von Erich pay-per-view match. And they had all the territories that wasn't affiliated, because the NWA, which Crockett had bought, had moved on to it would not be affiliated with nothing. And WWF would not affiliate themselves with nobody. So that's when I first discovered him. I thought he was a really good athlete and, really got the business. I was a Jeff Jarrett fan from then on. But I got to work with him professionally in WCW when I went there in ring. He is phenomenal to work with behind the scenes. He is, one true professional. And in any conversation you have with him, regardless if it's about business or just, hey, how you doing? How's life? How's this? How's that? Every conversation is some of the best conversations you ever have. He's a really good person down to the deep soul of anybody. But if we talk about his credentials and the dying days of WCW, and that's what people call him. I don't call him that. That's what people's called him. I don't do it. I thought WCW was still a good company. I thought they still were running good. Jeff Jarrett added a lot to that company. He got the world strap put around his waist. A lot of people criticized Jarrett getting the title when he did. I don't. I think he could have carried that company even more than what he did. But the writing kept switching. Bam, bam, bam. The title change, we already talked about. The title changes that year were astronomical. It was in the 20s, within not even a year time period. But if you want a guy to carry your company, I know Jeff Jarrett could carry a company. He proved that when he opened his own, as in TNA, and held the TNA championship, the King of the Mountain. So Jeff Jarrett, very deserving. He does fall at number 6, but all around a perfect athlete and a perfect wrestler. So he deserves to be in the top 10, and he falls in at number 6.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I could have put him up a little bit higher myself, because if we did it for Jeff Jarrett's complete career, he'd definitely be in the top 3.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when he did the song "Alone with My Baby Tonight." That would probably put him. That probably would have put him at number 1 or 2 for sure.
Well, you just sent that to me recently again. So.
I did. Every time it pops up, I always enjoy it. So, but my number 6 is. It was hard. It was hard to put him. I couldn't put him in the top 5. And he slipped a little bit higher than what I thought he was going to be, but it's Kevin Nash. It was hard. I like Kevin Nash as a performer. He had a little bit of a tighter reign, but it wasn't really big like you would think. That whole time that he had it, I don't know. It could have been a whole lot better. With the athlete that he is, the charisma he has, everything, the title run could have been a whole lot better. But he carried it at the time where they needed him. And that's why I put him number 6.
Okay. That's a good answer. Very, very well. I agree with a lot of what you said about him. My number, let's see here. My number 5 now. I'm at 5. Okay. I almost got miscombobulated. 6 was Jarrett. Number 5, I pick Ron Simmons. I pick Ron Simmons just for the mere fact that the way he won the title against Vader, the way they did it, the storyline there was, I believe it was going to be Sting, title shot rematch with Vader in Baltimore, and Jake the Snake attacks Sting. Sting's like taken out for the evening. That's when Jake the Snake made his debut. So they had to put all the names in a hat. Bill Watts put them all in a hat, and then he picked out a name, and it just so happened to be Ron Simmons. And Ron Simmons wins it, beats Vader. And an emotional match in Baltimore. The crowd goes, one of the loudest pops to this day in WCW history was in 1992 when Ron Simmons won that world title. He lost it the end of December. Just so happens to be the same town at a house show in Baltimore, the end of December of that same year. But that title reign to me will always be remembered. As I was 14 years old at the time when he did it, I got to see it lived the Ron Simmons era, and I thought he was a great champion and a really good person to carry the company. And not to mention, um, he was the first ever African American WCW World Heavyweight Champion. So he falls in at number 5 on my list, but really well deserving. Ron Simmons, number 5.
My number 5 is, if we did a top 10 of all time tag teams,
Mm-hmm.
he'll be in the top 3. In TNA, he did a great math promo. I'm going to go with Scott Steiner.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, like, just everything he does is just so great. Uh, he has the look. He's got the charisma. Uh, I don't know. He, like you said, he looks like the wrestler, like what they was going with at that time. He carried the company when he needed to. And I know he didn't have the title at this time, but when you walk out with a tiger on TV, you deserve to be on any top 10 list. So,
Okay.
but he's a great tag team. He's a great world champion. Uh, he's great with animals, especially tigers. He's really great at math. Uh, yeah, Scott Steiner is number 5 for sure.
Okay. Very good. Well, after hearing that, I'm going to tell you my number 4 going in, Mike. And I know you like this guy because most people do during the WCW time. It's none other than Vader. Vader pops in at number 4 on my list. Let me tell you why. Big Van Vader comes in. He has this phenomenal feud with Sting in 92. He loses the title to Ron Simmons for a few short months, wins it back at the end of the year, goes into 93. Vader's the world champion. Him and Sting have a big feud through 93. I think Vader had good matches with Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, when he came in the WCW for that short time in 93. And then Vader loses the world title to none other than the Nature Boy at the end of 93. That doesn't end his title reign, I don't believe. Vader does end up with it back, I believe a little later, if I'm not mistaken. He may not. He may have just challenged Hogan. A lot of my timeline gets confused here because so much has happened throughout the years. But nonetheless, Vader comes in at number 4 because he was always, to me, one of the biggest big men that ever stepped foot in the pro wrestling ring.
I would definitely agree with that 100%. And my number 4, is crazy enough, it's Vader too.
Oh, wow.
The greatest, in my opinion, the greatest big man ever in the business. He wasn't just a big man with just power. You had Andre the Giant, power. Big Show was mostly power. WCW, he had a little bit of athletic. He was a little bit athletic and stuff. But Vader, man, he was doing moonsaults. He was, I mean, you put him against anybody, he was dominant. Uh, Up in the AWA in the 80s, he was named as the Baby Bull.
Yep.
Uh, like, he was great in New Japan. He was a great world champion in WCW, and everything that you just said and everything, I couldn't say it better myself. So I wanted to put him up higher because, like I said, I think he's the best big man in the business. But my I had to save my top 3 for a little bit other people. But Vader, man, he definitely deserves to be in top 5 for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Vader, if he wasn't in somebody's top 5, did you even watch WCW? That's all I got to ask. So now we hit down to the top 3 of each of ours. Now, I don't know where you're going with this, but the 3 I pick, some will agree with, some may not. And it's probably going to be the case with you as well. But I'm looking forward to hearing your top 3. So here we go. I'm going to start this off, Mike. Number 3, bud, and none other than the man called Sting. He had so many great title reigns in WCW. We're talking about when he beat Flair in 1990. He was the WCW guy. He never left WCW for the WWF. They had to go out of business before Sting went there years later. Sting was just WCW from top to bottom. After he beat Flair in 90, he lost it back to Flair in 91. He won the world title back. And him and Vader had their title matches, 92 and 93. But to me, Sting has to be in your top 3 of the world champions, but he has to be in your top 3 of all-time WCW favorites of any type, just because he's Sting, whether he's Surfer Sting or Crow Sting or whatever Sting you choose. He is what WCW was. So to me, he pops in at number 3.
Okay, and I respect that. My number 3 is, we talk about him all the time, and we talked about him earlier today. It's Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, he's great. Back in '95 when I'm watching it now, it almost gives like a little hillish vibes before the NWO and stuff. When I think the Giant and all them shaved his mustache, and him wrestling in cowboy boots and wearing the black then, and you never knew he was going to really turn. He was a face the whole time. But then the NWO, he comes out, man, the connection he had with that, the great battle for Sting, Flair, Luger, man, the list goes on and on. Everybody says like he only has a couple moves and stuff like that, but he brought you to watching the channel every time he came on. He brought WCW back to like the television, like where people watch it. He's one of the main reasons why WCW beat WWF 83 weeks in a row.
Yes.
So yeah, no matter if he was a heel, a face, no matter what, he always had great matches. Like he could easily be number 1. He could easily be number 2, but it is so many different people, and he's deserving definitely to be in the top 3.
Oh, absolutely. I believe he has to be in anybody's top 3, but I also have to believe, to me, like I said, I picked Sting, not Hogan. But I know you mentioned this guy's name earlier. This guy didn't even make your top 10, Mike. And you had valid points. You did have some good valid points about the way the titles and all that went. And he was better to you in a different era. And then I am talking about none other than the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. To me, number 2, regardless if he had a better title run in the NWA with Jim Crockett Promotions. To me, none other, Ric Flair, will always be WCW to me through and through. When he left to go to the WWF, and I was 13 years old in 1991, it broke my heart. I saw Ric Flair leave WCW, the company I loved as a child, and go to where? the WWF, and it broke my heart. It really did. I grew up in the Carolinas at the time, which was Charlotte, and we were always big Crockett, then from NWA to WCW. And to me, Ric Flair is WCW through and through. Just like he said in the last night when he worked Sting at the last Nitro on March 26, 2001. He said that him and Sting were WCW, and that's the way it should end. And it ended on a good note. And his title win at Starrcade 93 when he beat Vader, I was there live. Man, that was just a big moment. And not only WCW, but in Charlotte history, man. It was just a wow moment. And Ric Flair, to me, one of my favorites of all time, falls in at number 2.
Okay. You have a couple good points there. I just never was really that big of a Flair fan. Like, he was good, don't get me wrong, he was good. But for me personally, I could never really connect with Flair that much. So that's why, and plus in 91, when you was 13, I was born in
Yeah.
91.
That was a good year then, right, Mike?
Yeah, of course it was. So my number 2, you already brought him up once.
Yep.
And it's Goldberg.
Okay.
You can't have, in my opinion, you can't have a top 3 about WCW without Goldberg, only because he was so dominant. I don't know if it was their way of trying to go after WWF, Stone Cold, or what, but he was WCW, of like a homegrown talent. You could see the him growing when he first started to the very end. Started off like having quick matches as a kid. That's what draw you in, was the power, the dominance. Like, he went so long without losing a match, and then when he won the world title, like, he also had the United States Championship. Like, him just being so dominant, it's, as a kid, like, you just enjoy it. Like, that just brought you to it every single time. And then when he had a little bit of a heel run with Vince Russo, having 2 great athletes together, it was just incredible for a kid. So get to see Goldberg and Russo together in the same ring, working together. Yeah, Goldberg number 2.
Okay, you got him up there really close to number 1. I don't totally agree with the numbering, but I agree that he deserves to be in that top 10. And we all see things differently and have different opinions. I respect it. Cool. Well, now we're down to, and I would do a drum roll, but I'm not very good at them. But we're down to number 1, Mike, on both our lists. Now this is a big moment, right? Big moment. Because I'm interested to see where you hit number 1. I'm going to tell you who I got number 1 first, and it's none other than the immortal Hulk Hogan. This top 10 was made weeks ago, has nothing to do with what the tragic loss last night, his death, nothing of that. I had him at number 1 from the get-go since we made this list, and we've held on to him, and I wouldn't have changed it for anything. What he gave to the business is unparalleled. He should be number 1 top 10 in the top 10 of the WWF, the WWE. He should be in the top 10 of the WCW, the top 10 of all time pro wrestlers, just because of his contribution alone. But when we're talking about the top 10 WCW world champions, To me, Hulk Hogan falls in because he came in 1994. Was a really big deal for WCW. Beats Flair at Bash. I think it was Bash at the Beach. The summer in Orlando, July of 1994. And from the get-go, he was a big deal. Hogan then transcended into Hollywood Hulk Hogan with the big turn. He gets the world title again, holds it like no other as a top heel now, turned that character, Hollywood Hogan, into something really, really big. And he just proved that not only was he the best over babyface of all time up to that point, but now at that time in the business, he is the biggest heel as well. So to me, number one, WCW World Champion of all time and the top 10, Hulk Hogan. May you rest in peace.
I would agree with that. Like it's so hard to pick a top 10, but a top 3 is just so much harder.
It's horrible. Yes.
So my number 1 is none other than David Arquette.
David. Oh my God. You did throw a monkey wrench in there on me today, my man.
Okay.
I was wondering where you were going with this.
Okay. Okay, I'm messing with you. I did not pick David Arquette.
Okay.
Who knows? Could it be one of the greatest world champions of all time? WCW had a wrestler that had a title almost every other week, and that is Vacate. Vacate had a lot of championships. But I'm not going that route. I know I was joking with you.
Oh, wow. So it's not it's not Vacate or Arquette.
No, I know over the weeks I picked on you about it and stuff, and you was getting a little, I think, frustrated with my list because I had Vacate number 3, Arquette number 2, Russo number 1. Like I was trying to throw you off.
Oh, you did.
But my number 1 has to be none other than the icon Sting.
Okay. Good choice.
I mean, you got the Surfer Sting coming out. Like, I love the orange and black face paint. Love the green one. Love the whole red, white, and blue patriotic coming out. Love how he stayed with WCW the whole entire time. He never went to WWE, WWF because he knew, like, everything. He was a great world champion. He rather went to TNA Wrestling than go make more money in WWE because he thought that WWE was going to, like, ruin him for being in WCW and never came over with everybody else when WWE bought him. He was the soldier for WCW. He carried that banner with pride. Even if he had the title for one day, with everything that he did for WCW, he deserves to be number 1 in my opinion. He was just, like I said, he had red, white, blue face paint one time, and that just stuck out to me. But he was WCW in and out.
Absolutely. Hey, that's a good pick. I absolutely agree with your number 1. I can be down with your number 1, 100%. Cause he was my number 3. He when I was going back and forth in my top 3, the 3 guys that I picked, which was Sting 3, 2 Flair, and 1 Hogan, I was like, man, this is so hard because I think all 3 contributed so much to this industry, so much to WCW. But I ended up going the route I did. But I'm actually 100% happy with your number 1. so much better than the route I thought you were going with maybe Arquette or Russo. But hey, your number one is phenomenal, and I can't argue with you at all about it. Sting is one of the greatest of all time. He's a GOAT, just like Hogan, just like Flair, just like Hart, just like Michaels. You name it. We can go on and on. Undertaker, Kurt Angle. But anyway, good top 10, man. Great top 10. I love it.
It was. We had a lot of the same wrestlers. It could have been either list. I mean, go back and forth. It's hard. Like I said, it's hard to make a top 10.
Yes.
But we had, probably about 70-80% of the same people in close to the same area. So
Yeah, it was kind
yeah,
of cool. It kind of came out a lot different than I thought it would. So it really surprised me today.
because I was joking that said I was going to pick like Kurt Angle, The Rock, everyone that had the WCW WWE invasion plan. Like I try to throw you off so much with this.
Well, you did. You did at one point. I didn't know where you were going with the early talks going into this. But I have to actually say your top 10 is a really good top 10. And, you surprised me on a few of them.
Well, like it was really fun to do. Like I wish I could put a lot of them like in the top five, like put them all in the top five because they all deserve it.
Yes.
There for a while, I honestly believe that WCW was way better than WWE.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
in my opinion, if WWE did not have Stone Cold Steve Austin, WCW would have won hands down every week. Uh, my opinion, Stone Cold, the only reason that WWE survived like it did. Uh, but really great talent in WCW and everything. So
Yeah. Well, if we were talking today, Mike, if we were talking today about WCW television champions, some of the best of all time, Steve Austin would be probably number one, if not up there at the top two or three, because he held that television title in WCW many times, had classic matches with Steamboat, and he was stunning Steve Austin. Since we got on that subject, Steve Austin, when he was stunning Steve Austin, to me holds it more cherished to my heart, and I appreciate him more there than I did WWF. I hate to say that, but it was just my era too, that I grew up in, and WCW was always homegrown to me. And but I always thought his matches with Steamboat were classic. His matches with when he was tag team champion with Brian Pillman as the Hollywood Blondes, and they would wrestle Steamboat and Douglas, and they would also have matches with Arn and Flair, 2 out of 3 falls at Norfolk Scope in June of '93. That was a classic. So, but yeah, Steve Austin, if we were doing a top 10 of the television championship, he'd probably be number 1 or 2, hands down. WCW TV champion, maybe even the tag titles, because him and Brian Pillman was a great tag team.
yeah, I like Stone Cold overall.
But he'd fall in the top
He,
10 of WWF, WWE, right? Easily.
if Stone Cold was, if we did a list for WWE, he would be number one hands down for me. Uh, but it's a lot of good talent over there too.
Yeah.
But Stone Cold, what he did, he only did it for like at the top of his game for I think 6-7 years.
Yes.
Like he was the one that brought everybody in. Hogan was the one that brought it to that mainstream everything, but Hogan or Stone Cold was the one that pushed it to that next level. So honestly, if we did a top 10 for WWE, Stone Cold be number one, and Hogan honestly might be number two on that list. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. To me, it might be a little different. I might put Hogan up there in the WWF, WWE /WWE list as 1, and then 2 Steve Austin probably. That's probably where I'd go. but they are definitely the top two big guys of two different eras in our business in that same company, for sure. Absolutely. But man, I'm telling you, the top 10 today, I had fun with that because we got to share, and a lot of them were the same guys in the top 10, just a couple different, but it was fun nonetheless. And we need to do more of what we feel like should be Hall of Fame worthy or top 10 in this and top 10 in that. We need to do more of these more often, I believe, and compare things and see where to go.
Well, I mean, if you really want to, we could do a top 10 of TNA wrestling, because TNA, they just had their show Slammiversary, like what, over the weekend and stuff. It was a phenomenal uh, card. Uh, you finally had AJ Styles coming back to TNA after like 14 years.
I see what you did
That,
there.
yeah, was a massive, massive crowd pop. I personally think when I first heard it, I thought like Stone Cold was coming out. That's how loud TNA is for AJ Styles.
Oh, wow.
They had the biggest crowd in TNA's history over the weekend and stuff, and almost at 8,000 people. Uh, I think they could be a good, solid number two. I think they have everything to beat AEW in everything. TNA is just, it's cooking on fire. Uh, so what do you think about the partnership now with WWE and TNA?
Well, after seeing what's been going on and the great matches that they've put together, and then TNA's attendance has hit from what I understand, one of their biggest attendance records ever. I believe that WWE being involved has helped this company out, especially with the new management running. Years ago when Jarrett was running it and Vince was running the helm at the WWE before TKO, all this mess went on and they sold. I believe you never would have seen a partnership. Well, you probably never see a partnership today either if Vince was still there. I just think a lot of that has to do with the new owners and the open-mindedness that Triple H and people like that bring to the table with today's wrestling. And it's a phenomenal thing. I wish they'd have had this years ago with the companies being more lenient to work with each other to provide quality entertainment for the consumer. But we didn't have that. We were always taught and led to believe that everybody was competition, everybody's your enemy. So yeah, man, it's just one of them things.
Like, I like it, but is it like, so it's helping TNA with the ratings. It's helping them sell out bigger places. It's helping them in so much different stuff. But is it really helping them in the long run with the NXT? Like, it's really WWE's lower brand
Yeah.
having TNA's men and women's world titles. Like, both NXT superstars is holding like pretty much all the gold. Then the Hardy Boys, they got the tag team. Yes, they're in TNA, but they're mostly known for WWE. So it's almost like you see WWE taking over all the championships, but now you can't get nobody to really beat like Trick Williams to get the TNA title back at this moment.
Well, yeah, I see your point on that, but NXT is looked differently than what it was years ago as well. It's looked more of its own brand by the WWE. So, because now you got Evolve under at the lowest at WWE under NXT, and the guys that Evolve are trying to get spots at NXT. So it's kind of like NXT is kind of like its own branding, I guess. Now comprised to, hey, this is where the next superstar comes from. But then again, I see your point because NXT basically means next, like next in line to go to Raw or SmackDown. So it's kind of like a catch-22, and it's kind of like, depending on how you look at it, I could see where it'd be, oh, why is the brand that wants to go to Raw and SmackDown competing with TNA when TNA is supposed to be a top tier league like WWE? Why is that happening? I see your point. But if it's elevating the product to get eyes on it, it's making it more worthy. I have no problem with it at this point. Years ago, you'd asked me, I'd been like, that crap is not going to work. It's just going to kill TNA. But seeing has it come into real life and to play, and I actually got to see this instead of just talk about it, it kind of looks like it's elevating TNA and helping them. And I hope I'm right about that. I hope in the long run it doesn't hurt them and they get swallowed up and they're no longer around. I don't see that happening. Could it happen? Absolutely. Nobody ever thought the end of WCW would ever happen. But a lot of that was bad dealings. I will say that. Had nothing to do with WWE at the time. They just so happened to pick up the broken pieces and got it for a low end amount and all the TV rights and all the video library. They were just lucky. The right place, right time scenario. They really didn't kill them. They let WCW end up killing themselves, really, if you think about it. But, who knows? But right now it looks like that, being that they got AJ, he's a top tier WWE talent, homegrown at TNA. He came back. That to me, was a really good move. If they'd have sent anybody else from WWE to wrestle that pay-per-view, it wouldn't have meant nothing. But being that AJ came back, I think they made the right move. And I'm pretty sure AJ was happy to go back. But, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the long run? But I honestly see TNA moving forward and maybe getting a big launch from this, man. And maybe get some good TV deals. I know they're looking for a TV deal from what I've read. There's been rumored outlets where it'd be. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe there'll be more watchable, more eyes on them. And, you got the Dudley Boys, I guess, are challenging Matt and Jeff Hardy for the TNA tag titles one last time. I'm looking forward to that. They're all getting older. We all are. That's been in that business for a while. I wish them all the best and everybody's safe because I'm pretty sure they're all going to pull out some nonstop moves. No pun intended to the name Total Nonstop Action, but I could see these guys trying to give everybody their one big last match hurrah. And I just wish them all the best and safety and just looking forward to how TNA continues to grow. And I believe they will at this point. And I wish them all the best. It's a good time to be a fan of pro wrestling, a good time to be in the pro wrestling business. For all the guys breaking in still and doing the indies, regardless if you're in Florida, Carolina, or Georgia, or wherever you're breaking in the business or wherever you're working your shows, with WWE ID out there and all that going on, I just think it's a really good time in the industry once again, and a good time for a lot of guys to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think the partnership is definitely helping TNA, but you also got to think, like when they're talking about the world championship, they're saying the world title or the TNA title, but then what they want to make sure they put the world champion on there. So it's just like a little bit what they're doing is saying, oh, WWE is better than TNA. So they're kind of like set a ceiling for TNA with the partnership.
Right.
But then you got the NXT taking over like the championships for now. I don't believe, like at first heard the partnership thinking they're gonna buy TNA, they're gonna put them out of business just like WCW and all that stuff. But really, like what are they getting? Like they already got like where they can get the library if they really want to for like video packages. They can do any type of matches with uh their wrestlers. They can get any of their wrestlers to work in WWE and TNA like they did with Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace. And then after their contracts, they can slowly start picking them off. So I don't see them buying TNA. I just hope they don't try to like suck the life out of TNA. Uh, but right now, I don't think they're going to buy TNA like we first thought. Uh, but yeah, I think TNA is really back on the rise and everything, and I really can't wait to see where TNA is going to go because I really do believe that if they keep having the right pieces, the right people at the right places and stuff, they're going to be the number two. They're going to take over AEW in that spot and everything. They just need a really good TV deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's so much wrestling on TV now that a lot of people don't realize it's out there. I mean, Evolve's on Tubi. You got TNA on their outlet. I'm not even sure what channel they come on. I haven't watched them in quite a while. I hate to say it. And then you got NXT on Tuesday, and you got um, Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Friday. You got the NWA on what they got going on. A lot of wrestling out there right now for people to keep up with. And if you're in your wrestling fan in your local areas, people, I know you know about all the indies going on. So there's so much wrestling for you to get into, whether it's live or on television. Um, it's a lot. It's too much to keep up with at times, but there's a lot, and that just means if there's a lot going on in your said industry, that's good for your industry. And I just think right now it's a good time. In the business. And I look forward, to seeing how much it grows moving forward on the indies and WWE, TNA, NWA, um, AEW, whatever it may be. I just look forward to them all growing. Another note, Mike, I just left the area, and since we're talking about everything wrestling again, let's go ahead and give AEW a shout out. Just don't leave them out because we are equal opportunists when it comes to talking about wrestling. And we tend to find something great in everything we watch pro wrestling. So AEW is making its television debut Saturday, August 9th, the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia. And that's where I just had moved back from just last week. And right before I left the area, you're like, hey, guess who's coming to town? It's AEW, and which is cool. I'm glad to see them come to the market. WWE's not been there in, I know, a year and a half, if not more. And there's been no major league wrestling come to the area. And I'm happy to see AEW bringing that television there for the really good fans in that area. Stem back to the Crockett days and before that. And I just see, AEW doing well in that area because it's a WCW stronghold town, even though people don't, WCW's been dead for quite a while now. But it's still a WCW stronghold town. And I believe a lot of people look outside of WWE and look at companies in the past like TNA. I don't know if they do now, but they used to look at TNA as like the alternative, just like WCW was. And they were big fans of that. And now a lot of people look at AEW the same way. So I hope they do successful in that market and they can bring it back and, show that wrestling is still alive in the Mid-Atlantic region that some of the towns don't get it no more.
Yeah, I was excited to hear that AEW's coming back, even though the person I go watch wrestling with, a band, Lord,
Abandoned you?
yeah,
We had a little bit
but
of an
I mean,
audio issue.
yeah, abandoned me. Uh, but AEW is lately it's been doing really good. I like their stuff. I'm happy that the Cowboy Hangman Adam Page, the world champion, and we actually get to see the world title TV once again. And he's a Virginia boy, so the AEW champion is going to be a Virginia boy when it comes to Roanoke, Virginia, uh, which is great.
Yes.
Uh, but so AEW does one thing, in my opinion, better than everybody else,
Okay.
and that is the very small details. So when Hangman Adam Page won the title and he got that title out of the briefcase, uh, he beat John Moxley for it. When he held that championship, it still had the little side plates from Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson that John Moxley beat for the championship. It's just a little tiny detail. So it honestly proves that since that time, that title's been in that briefcase. Just the little details like that. And that's one thing I love about them. It's like they always make sure they really do cross their T's and dot their I's on everything to make it like that.
Okay.
And I mean that, in my opinion, that just makes them like better than anybody else right now. It's just the little details.
Okay.
But
I didn't realize that. Okay.
yeah, but the Cowboy Hangman Adam Page is going to come to Roanoke, Virginia, I do believe. But you know what else is good?
What's that?
Cowboy Revolution.
That's right.
Can't want to be a real American, just like our good brother Hulk Hogan. Tell him how we can do Cowboy Revolution, buddy.
Well, if you go to cowboyrevolution.com, it's Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company. You go there, and at checkout, after you look at every piece of merchandise they got on that site, from T-shirts to ball caps to whatever, and, fall will be here before you know it. In certain areas, it will be kind of cool, and that is Virginia. I will say it. Around September, October, you start getting a little cooler. You may want to put on a hoodie, guys. So get you a hoodie maybe. Go ahead and get it now. Get you a couple hats. They've been having hat deals over there at the site. Look at all the merchandise, see if you can find something good on there. And when you go to checkout, just remember the code JamieT123 and save that 15% today. So Real American beer, by the way. One more time, I'll bring it up. I'm going to tell you, Mike, I didn't tell everybody at the beginning. You asked a story about how I ordered it, but I didn't tell everybody what I thought about it. I will be honest. The beer was it was actually very delightful. I was worried about it being like a cheaper light beer or something, really nasty. Sort of on the borderline of a Busch or a Busch beer, or maybe Milwaukee, or maybe Pabst. But nope, none of that college beer taste when you're college age and you drink all that crap. It actually tasted pretty good. It was smooth, had a good taste to it, and I will be buying more Real American beer, brother. Whether it's at your local supplier here locally in Tampa, because we do get it here, or whether it's in one of the local establishments at the bars, I will continue to partake in some Real American beer. And for Russo, bro, that's for Russo. So, yeah, hey, dude, I don't know if you got anything else for us today, newsworthy, but I think today's episode was well overdue, of course. But it was also good to get back out there and talk about wrestling. Get our top 10 out there of the WCW World Champions, finally. And just to touch base with all our listeners out there, what's going on with the podcast. Formerly the Whole Reffin' Show, moving forward, it is Jamie and Mike's Wrestling Adventure. More details on that and more promotion will be done in the weeks to come, and we're going to have some more fun with this. Anything else to add?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, next time I think we're going to talk a little bit about Bash at the Beach 2000. Just gonna bring it up today, but the top 10. It was a great time talking about that. So we'll talk about Bash at the Beach next time if you want to. Uh, but yeah, I was really happy and I enjoy being back up on here. Been way too long.
Oh, absolutely. So, guys, listen, the podcast is coming out. It is today. It's Thursday. I don't even know the date anymore. It's July. What is today's date, Mike? July 24th?
Yeah, 24th.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I'm still getting settled in here, just being here about a week now in Florida again. And I'm just so happy to be back. I'm so happy me and Mike can bring it to you. And don't forget to go to Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company, cowboyrevolution.com at checkout. Once you find all your good stuff, put in code JamieT123, save 15% today. And that's all I got. If you ain't got nothing else, I say let's get out of here.
All right, let's get out of here then, buddy.
Peace out. We'll talk to you later.